Alright, we're doing the spiraling worksheet week number 7. Number 1 says, is the following set of coordinates a function? So it's just a yes or no. So again, all we have to do is look at my x values and see if I'm repeating. If I am, this is no. So I have a 5 here and a 5 here, and I have a 6 here and a 6 here, so the answer here is going to be no. Number 2 is asking in the equation which statement is true. So A says the dependent variable x. Well, x is not dependent, so that's not it. B says the independent variable x is. That means x equals. Do I have x equals right here? No, so B is not it. C says the dependent variable y is. Well, y is dependent, so far we're good. Y equals 5 less than. That means I'm subtracting 5 from something. 5 less than 3/4 the independent variable x, so that means 3/4 times my x. And that is exactly what we have, so C is going to be the correct answer. Number 3 says, what is the range for the graph? Range is our y values. So I need to be looking at the y-axis. So my lowest y value is here. My highest y value is here. It is a continuous graph. So we will list our lowest y value first, and our lowest y value is -1. Less than, because it is a filled-in circle or a complete whole, a filled-in circle, it's going to be an equal to. The range is the y, and then we have less than, and because it's the top of the line, or it's the line itself, it's going to have an equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, and that goes up to a +4. So there would be my answer for the range. Number 4 is asking, given the function f of x equals -3x plus 8, find the domain value when the range value is f of x equals 20. So domain value is x, range value is the y, so they're telling us, they're giving us the y, and we're trying to find the x. So I'm going to have 20 equals -3x plus 8. And I can just solve for my x. So I will subtract 8 from both sides. And that will leave me 12 equals -3x. Then I will divide by -3 on both sides. And that will leave me -4. So my x, or my domain value, is going to be -4. Number 5 says that we are write an equation in slope-intercept form of the line passing through the 2 given points. Okay, well, we can do this the easiest in our calculator. So let me pull the calculator up. We are going to go to a new document. I need number 1, save nothing, and I need to do add a list and a spreadsheet. So we will put x values in the A column, y values in the B column. So my x values, -3 and a +9. My y values would be 7, +11. And then we'll go to menu, 4, 1, 3. X in the x list, y in the y list. We hit enter. Okay, look at my my slope is 0.3333 repeating. Do we all realize that that is 1/3? So there's my slope, and my y-intercept would be a +8. So here's going to be my equation for number 5. Number 6 is asking us to write an equation in slope-intercept form for a line that's perpendicular to the given line and passes through the point -4 is 10. So slope-intercept form, this is what we're wanting it to look like eventually. If a line is perpendicular, that means our slopes are going to be opposite reciprocals. So that means I need to know what my slope is of the original equation, and my slope is 4. So the opposite reciprocal of that is going to be a -1/4. So this is the slope I'm going to use. This is the point that it's going to pass through. So that means we are going to put it into point slope form. So there's point slope form, so let's just start plugging in. So I have y minus, my y value is right here, it's 10, equals my new slope needs to be negative 1 over 4 times x minus my x value, which is negative 4. So minus a negative is really going to be a positive. Then I have to distribute to get rid of my parentheses. So I have negative 1 over 4x. And then negative times a positive is a negative. And then 1/4 times 4 is be just 1. Then I need to add my 10 to both sides so that my y is by itself. So now I have y equals negative 1/4 x plus 9. So this would be my equation for number 6. Number 7, it says find the solution to the system of equations. And again, the easiest way is going to be using our calculator. So when we pull that up, we need to go to either Scratchpad or a new document. So if I go to a new document, I need a calculator. So then I will do menu, 3, 2. X's and Y's are fine, so I just hit equal, and then just type in your two equations. So I have 2x plus 4y equals negative 24, and then I will have y equals 3x plus 1, and then enter. So my solution is going to be negative 2, negative 5. Let me put the sheet back up. So we have negative 2, comma, negative 5. This would be my solution for number 7. Okay, number 8 says find the first 5 terms of the sequence. All right, well, they've given me the first term, and it is 12. So to find the second term, we're going to be using basically this formula, which is telling me 3 times my previous term minus 21. So I'm going to have 3 times my previous term, which is 12, and then minus 21. And when I solve that, I end up with 15. So then to find my third term, I'll do 3 times my previous term, which is 15, minus 21, and I will get 24. And to find the fourth term, I will say 3 times my previous term, which is 24, minus 21, which will give me 51. And my fifth term, I will say 3 times my previous term, which is 51, minus 21, which will give me a total of 132. So my first 5 terms would be the 12, 15, 24, 51, and 132. Okay, number 9 says to simplify, and so if we notice that it is a plus, right? We're adding. So we just have to add like terms. So I have 13x cubed plus 12x cubed. So that would give me a total of 26x cubed. And then I move on down, putting in descending order. So I have x squared, and I have another x squared. So I have negative 6 plus, excuse me, plus 15. That will give me a positive 9x squared. Keep on going. So I've got a positive 9x minus 14x. So that would give me a negative 5x. So there would be your answer for number 9. Number 10 again says simplify, but this time it is a multiplication problem. And if you notice, it's 2 binomials. So we can either use FOIL or we can do the box, your choice. I think the box is probably the most comfortable one for most of us. So let me draw the box. So we have 4x minus 5, and then we have 3x plus 7. So 3x times 4x will give me 12x squared. 3x times negative 5 is negative 15x. 7 times 4x is 28x. 7 times negative 5 is negative 35. And then remember, if we have any like terms, they'll be right here. And there's like a big plus sign there. Okay, so that means I'm starting with the 12x squared. And then I have negative 15x plus, this was 28x. So that's going to give me a positive 13x. And then we have negative 35 right there. So there's the answer for number 10. Number 11 is asking me to factor. So the first thing I'm going to ask myself is, do we have a GCF, the greatest common factor? And if you'll notice, I have 8 that'll go into both of these, and I have an x squared. So if I factor out 8x squared, and now I'm going to make my multiplication problem. So I need an 8, and I already have it, so that means I'm not putting a number. I need x to the 4th, and I only have x squared, so that means I'm missing an x squared, minus. I need 24, and I only have 8, so that means I need to multiply by 3. I need an x squared. I already have an x squared, so I'm not putting another x in there. So there's my answer for number 11. Okay, number 12 says to factor, and depending on what your teacher showed you, what I'm showing you might not be exactly what they showed you. But we have a trinomial with no lead, so that means I know I can immediately put my 2 sets of parentheses. Again, I also know immediately that I'm going to put x and x here to come up with the x squared. Now, to figure out the number part down here, I need to factor this last term, so I'm going to factor 48. So I have 1 times 48, 2 times 24, 3 times 16, 4 times 12, and 6 times 8. And then with each set of factors, I am adding them together, and then I'm going to subtract them. And I will add them and subtract them. Add, subtract, add, subtract, add, and subtract. I am looking for my middle term of 14. So I go down and I see it's right here. That means I'm going to be using the 6 and the 8 in my parentheses, and to get to that 14, it's in the plus column, which means my signs are going to be the same. So I put my 6 and my 8 here. Now to figure out whether it's both positive or both negative, I go look at this sign right here in front of my middle term, and since it's the same, they're both going to be whatever that sign is. So that means they're both going to be negative terms. And there's my answer for number 12.